Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that.
What is that?
Call the member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I concur with the member for East Hills comments, and you can tell that he, like I, grew up in the wonderful part of Sydney known as Bankstown. Because, Madam Speaker, as a product of Western Sydney, I can tell you that graffiti is one of the more disgusting things that occurs around that greater part of Western Sydney that many of us in the new coalition government represent. Primarily because graffiti is what former Mayor of New York, Rudolph Giuliani, would say is the beginning of the end. Graffiti is normally the start of the type of behaviour, antisocial behaviour, that can lead to other criminal activities, particularly amongst our youth. Graffiti is not normally the first criminal offence that occurs for somebody who is going into a life of crime. I, like the member for East Hills, have identified that through our youth, particularly in Western Sydney, where this graffiti can occur quite prevalently, need to be told that there is going to be a very serious approach from the government, from society, for those who think that it is taken upon themselves to vandalise what is public property and in many cases, unfortunately, private property. Madam Acting Speaker, we believe in the coalition that people need to take responsibility for their actions. We believe in the coalition that people need to be told that if they do something that is against the better interests of our community, they will in fact need to pay the price. And like the member for East Hills said, it is the youth of today, the freedom, which is the greatest price. They don't know times of recession, they don't know times of war, they only know the good times. And I'm quite horrified that members of the opposition, particularly those who come from the areas that near where I represent and where I grew up, would think that anything less than zero tolerance towards a life of crime would be less than acceptable. It is important that we tell the youth of today that starting with graffiti, we need to make sure that they know that there is going to be a cost. Now, that freedom that I spoke to a moment ago obviously starts and finishes for a teenager with their driver's licence. The driver's licence, particularly in Western Sydney, the driver's licence is one of those great rites of passage. It's like going to the club for the first time, it's like buying a beer for the first time, it's like getting into university or going into an apprenticeship. A driver's licence, particularly because after 16 years of Labor, many of us in Western Sydney have been denied transport options. A driver's licence is an essential part of the lifestyle of those living in Western Sydney. So by us being able to say to them, that great act of freedom that you've been looking forward to, that the driver's licence that you've been spending years working towards, you've done your 100 hours towards in the learner's permit, by saying to them they are going to be denied that freedom is probably the greatest way we can defer this criminal activity, keep people out of jails, and I think, Madam Speaker, that is good public policy.
Thank you. I'm going to interrupt the debate. Yes, 6 o'clock.
I move that this debate be adjourned.
The question is that this debate be now adjourned. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Great.